Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics, an Arizona Cardinals podcast hosted by fans for the fans here on Tuesday, September 10th. Here with the whole gang. I'm back. Appreciate y'all. Missed y'all. I miss my squad as always, but I miss the fans as also. Here to talk about our week one game versus Buffalo, recap it. Obviously, I'm here with my two co-hosts. Whole gang's here. Shaw, you see him in the background. He'll cook up later. And Jake as well. Checking with my co-host. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Some time to digest this past weekend, but yeah, excited to chop it up with the fellas here.
Yes, sir. Shaw, how about you?
Yeah,
How you
yeah. If
feeling
you caught me
today?
Monday, I would have been pissed. If you caught me Monday, I would have been pissed. But
hmm
we've had a day. We've had a day to rest and sleep over it. So we
hmm
feeling all right.
Absolutely. So as we all know, emotions were running very high. Real quick, I just want to shout out Classy Nasty. He was in here way earlier. What's up to you, brother? You end up showing up. Appreciate you. But yeah, want to recap this last game versus Buffalo. I know these fellas here shared their sentiments on their game last pod, last weekend. Everybody, including myself in the comments, was saying we believe this Cardinals team would come out with a victory. A DPI, a couple pops here, a couple miss throws here, missed receivers here from possibly coming away with a massive win on the road. So overall, just emotions were high after Sunday, obviously in the group. A bunch with a lot of Cardinals fans, I should say, just because we haven't seen this group play together all preseason. We've heard the hype since the draft from Marvin and throughout the whole group, and how Kyler's felt about the squad and how he's felt about the offense. And literally guns blazing, they come out first drive, they get the ball first in Buffalo, loud enemy territory, and they go out and they score. Right, go out and score, set the tone very early, very heavy James Conner dosage early. Like I said, go out there and score, and then I believe you go out in the next possession, right, and you force a Josh Allen turnover. So you go, no, is that how? Yeah, that's how it went. Yeah, you force a
I
Josh
think,
Allen
yeah.
turnover,
Yes.
the next possession. So and then you also get a field goal the next possession. So you go up 10-0 quick. So you blitz Buffalo quick. Literally the recipe that I think this entire podcast wanted for the team, for our team going into it. 10-0 lead quickly. Then you get up 17-3 by the midway through the second quarter with another beautiful touchdown drive after the Buffalo goes down and scores. And then that's when the game kind of turns. Jake, I know you mentioned this massively. The one play that you felt massively turned this game around. We'll get to it for sure. But just wanted to kind of lay out the law, lay out the land and stuff, how the stuff was going. But want to obviously dip into both sides of the ball as we always do here on Cardinalytics. And I would love to start with the offense first, as everybody was going to talk about. Defensively, we'll get into it. Everybody kind of knows how this defense was going to play throughout the year. But offensively, definitely want to get into that because I think we have a lot of points, a lot of thoughts about the offense. So any quick thoughts about the offense that you guys have before we break down maybe each level of it and what kind of happened throughout the game?
Yeah, I can jump in here.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I honestly pleasant surprise. Like first drive was like literally of the season. First off, we won the coin toss, elected to receive on the road, which is such a ballsy move.
That I did not know.
Which I was like not super confident in at first, but came out, took 7 minutes and 13 seconds off the clock, drove down the field, scored with a little Murray magic floater up to Michael Wilson, who made a great contested catch. So that was electric and surprising, and like right there, I was like, all right, we're here. Like this season's gonna be different. Everyone is wrong. Like here we go. And like you said, just to kind of keep this part brief, like I think there's a lot of positive takeaways from the offense. I think Petson called a great first half. Obviously, I like on the depth chart that came out for this week, it looks like Jonah Williams is listed on it. So hopefully he just got banged up, took the rest of the game off, and like he'll be back for week 2, which is arguably like my most important concern as far as getting the win at home against the Rams this week, just because you're watching two different teams. Like I didn't know what happened because I honestly had gotten up and I just saw like a white arm on the ground. So I was like, all right, like it's obviously like it was like a big white arm. So I'm like, all right, it's one of the linemen. I didn't know who it was. turned out to be Jonah. And literally from that point on, like with Beecham coming in, it just wasn't the same offense. Kyler was constantly under duress. And so, yeah, I think my biggest thing going into week 2 is just getting that guy back and plugging up that right tackle position. So, yeah.
Shad, how about you? Quick feelings on the offense and kind of what they came out, how they looked, and just overall aspects before we really dive in fully to what happened.
I mean, bro, they came out on fire. Like they scored on their first 3 drives in the first half. I think they scored on every drive in the first half, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct. Yeah.
And they didn't have to do anything special. Like they came out, they were able to line up, run the ball. And the passing game necessarily they didn't have to dive into it, like, because I mean they were able to run the ball. But second half is where things took a turn, and I mean we just didn't look like we could throw the ball down the field. We didn't look like we tried to throw the football down the field. Let me not say we couldn't, because I'm confident that the offense can, but it was just the tale of two halves for the offense. And honestly, outside of the kick return, we scored 20 points in that game outside the kick return and the extra 2 points. So to me, like, that's not good enough with how bad our defense is. So either our offense has to continue to play like how it did in the first half, or our defense has to get better.
Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of strong points. And like I said, obviously we'll get into it all. Just felt like it wasn't enough. Felt like it was a very good start, but just wasn't enough. So real quick before we dive in, got some comments in here. Red Feather Report looks like Dana. Appreciate the name change. Oh, she mentioned it right there. Something positive from the defense. Our run stop is now middling for the league instead of bottom tier. So we'll get into the defense. I agree with your takes on that. It's been a lot of talks about the defense, especially defensive line. To me, I'm kind of opposite on what happened with the defensive line. So we'll see how the guys feel as well. But I'm with you there. The run defense, especially second half, looked pretty decent. So we'll see how that turns out. She also mentions lots of 12 and 13 personnel looks in the early game. K1 a bit hesitant to throw to the first read, even when open. A lot more pre-snap motion than I was expecting. I still have a lot more film to watch. She's also only done with the first drive on the deep dive, so she's going deep in. And it also said she's sick, so sorry about. Hope you're feeling better. Hopefully a win on Sunday.
Better.
Yeah, hopefully a win on next Sunday will give you a lot more relief towards that sinus headache, because man, they gave us a lot of headaches in that second half. So let's just start with the quarterback, right? I think that's the biggest thing that everybody thinks about. Start with the quarterback. Obviously, Kyler Murray came out. He's a lot of talk from him this offseason about how he feels about his new offense, or this offense, I should say. A lot of trust that he puts in his coordinator and his his coaches to put him in proper positioning. And he's kind of had that similar message all season, which is the fact that he's going to put trust in them to call what they want, and he's just going to follow the game planning. And you kind of saw that first half. You saw a lot of runs, a lot of dink and dunk passes, a lot of taking what Buffalo is giving you. And Kyler Murray finished the day 21 of 31, 162 yards. 130 of those came in the first half, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And then he only had an average yard of pass for 5 yards, and he threw for 1 touchdown, was sacked 4 times officially. But he also did have a QBR of 83.2. Not a great QB, not a great QB rating, but or not a great passer rating, I should say, but a pretty good QBR of 83.2. So, y'all thoughts on Kyler? Me personally, I thought he played a pretty good game. I hate seeing the turnover that happened, because those are just classic. Obviously, you can't see the guy swiping down, but you got to know to have 2 hands on the ball while in the pocket. That's something that Kyler, year in, year 6, you got to be better at that, obviously. But outside of his fumble and a couple of things that I wish they would have tried a little bit more, and a couple of things that I wish he would have took under his own hands, as we know he can do, I thought he played a sound football game. I thought he followed the game plan correctly. A lot of people are making the assumptions of he didn't look towards Marvin Harrison's way. He didn't try to go to him. I think he literally was just taking what the defense gives him. When my film study watch, I see too high every time. I see somebody over top of Marvin damn near all game long. So If you're not going to call a route in order to bust that coverage or get him open or use aspects of leveraging those coverages, it's going to be hard to get that guy the ball. So that's why Dort saw a lot of targets. That's why McBride saw a lot of targets, because those are the holes in the cover too. And then obviously in the first half, how we were running the ball, you just want to stick to the game plan, and that's who the Cardinals are. They're going to be a run first team regardless. So um, overall, did he leave a lot on the bone, a lot of meat on the bone? I think so. I think a lot can be desired from Kyler, as we know, and I love his approach to the game. Now of, yes, I'm going to follow my coaches, what they want from me. I'm not going to try to play hero ball, but sometimes you got to just go out there and be you and be special. And that's what makes you dynamic is sometimes fitting those tight window throws. And we saw that, especially in the final drive, they sometimes didn't uh, come back to catches, as we saw Michael Wilson drop a big one in that final drive. We also saw Marv drop one down the middle of the field as well, which was very surprising. I think everybody in our chat was just like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, holy shit! I don't think we ever expected him to drop a pass like that. So, but me personally, like I said, just me personally, Kyler, I thought he played okay. If I had to give it a grade, I'd probably do like a B minus. I think again, like he's an A caliber quarterback that needs to be better in certain situations, especially the second half. Like if you see something, tell your coaches and develop a certain aspect of that. But Jake, thoughts on Kyler and his game overall, and did he leave anything? Are you agreeing with me that he felt like it was kind of left some stuff on the bone there, or did you feel like he just took what he had to take?
Yeah, I think he definitely left it out there, and I know like the system is obviously much different. I mean that's very evident, but we ran the hell out of the ball last year, and it seemed like in the 8 games that Kyler played, or the 8 or 9, I think it was 8, that he was throwing the ball a lot more. And I mean, one pass of 10 yards and nothing over that is not going to move the needle. Like you're starting to get into like that check down king type of narrative, which we don't want any part of, especially like looking back to 2021, where Kyler was known for having the best intermediate to deep ball in the NFL. So you can throw it accurately. Definitely disappointed in a couple of plays. Obviously, Marv dropping that one. I was surprised, of course, but like when you like look back, like he did have some drops in college, but like you don't expect him to drop that ball. There's really no excusing that one. Like, yeah, you can make the argument like everybody drops balls, but like still to this day, like Larry Fitz, more tackles than drops, bro. Like you gotta, I don't know. I don't know how he dropped that one. And I know it's not like a huge deal, but like it definitely has sat with me. And I'm still frustrated about that drop just because he made a good move. He was literally wide open in the soft spot in the coverage. And that was like, you're looking at like sitting down for like 19 yards. So it's super frustrating. Michael Wilson on the last drive, Kyler put a dime on him down the sideline, right in his basket, dropped that. That one was like 20 yards. Dortch, the one at the end, like it's frustrating too because obviously that we were all talking about in the chat, like that ball that he threw to Dortch with the game on the line was total Cliff Kingsbury moment. Like 4th and 7, gotta have it. I'm sure he was throwing with the intention of drawing the pass interference, but like, and I'll go as far to say, like, people close to me know this. Like, Kyler Murray is my favorite athlete of all time, my favorite Arizona Cardinal. Like, I know it's a crazy statement, but I absolutely am probably this guy's like biggest defender, right? Like, literally would go to war for this man. But there are certain times where he does things like that throw where it's like, dude, like game on the line. Like he talks about how he's never used to losing and this and that. It's like 4th and 7. If I'm him and I have his ability, I'm going for that. Like I'm rolling out of the pocket and I'm taking a sure thing as far as like some sort of crosser or a sit down, like right over the line to gain, or I'm running for it. Like Josh Allen in that position is running for it and like getting the first down, throwing up a like 50-50 ball, if not less, into basically a guy is blanketed on him with safety help to the corner where it's like, even if he catches it, there's the risk of him stepping out of bounds or like not securing the ball, being so kitty cornered to the sideline there. I just hated that throw. and obviously not getting the pass interference call was just brutal. And I think they totally missed it. But like, I will say, and I thought it was honestly dog shit in the moment, but I will say, as far as like watching it back, like there was a camera angle from the end zone where you can kind of see that from like the 6 yard line in, there was a lot of like hand fighting, which is why ultimately I think they didn't call it, because Dortch had his left hand extended a bit too. And it was actually the exact type of play that they ran against the Rams last year, getting blown out, where Dortch made that grab against the right side of his body in the end zone, and then like did the too small celebration to the Rams DB. But it's just a low percentage play. It's not going to work. The guy's 5'7", so that was super frustrating. And then just real quickly to address like the Marvin ball, like obviously, yeah, you watch the film, like Orlovsky broke it down. It might not, maybe it was open and then it closed up, but I'm still in that position. I'm probably throwing that ball up to Marv, lead him back of the end zone so the two guys that are chasing in pursuit can't catch up to it. And it's either he comes down with it in the back of the end zone or it's out of the back of the end zone. I feel like you got to give it a chance. I think he did see him late. I still would have liked to have seen him give him a chance. We spent a 4th overall pick on the guy, one of the most highly hyped players ever coming out. So super disappointed in his production week 1. But I'm sure we'll get into that more further. Anyways, Kyler overall, I would give him a B. The fumble was really bad, but outside of that, like, got to see some more yards. 162 is not going to cut it, but he did some things really well. Scampered for 60, so I'll give him a B.
How about you, Sha? How you feeling about K1 and his performance on Sunday?
I think you mentioned it. I think he was like top 5 in QBR for the week. So he actually played a good game, even though, like, Jake, what you said, the stats, 160 through the air, 1 touchdown, and then 60 on the ground. It doesn't like say much, but I mean, he protected the football throwing wise. And he made plays with his legs, which is what you kind of expect him to do. It's just that I don't feel like we asked him to do nearly enough. I feel like Drew Petzing had a game plan installed and he executed it pretty well outside of the fumble. Yeah, you definitely he needs to work on his ball security in the pocket, because we seen him a couple of times that game, like pump fake twice in the pocket, bring the ball down, kind of be loose with the ball. He needs to fix that and get back to how he was his rookie year when he wasn't fumbling at all. But no, I mean, I feel like he executed the game plan pretty well. It's just that the game plan didn't include one number 4 overall pick. Like, which is it's kind of insane to me. Like, I went back and watched every passing snap of that game. And outside of I think Marv had 3 targets. Outside of those 3 targets, there was probably about 3 plays where I was like, yeah, he's open. He's not getting double covered. He's open. We could get the ball to him. But was the play designed to get the ball to him? No. Like, it was either a quick read to McBride or quick read to Greg Dortch. And like you mentioned, like, he was just kind of taking what the defense was giving him. I think he even said it in his press conference, because they asked him about that. And he was just like, look, like, Drew doesn't have him worry. He doesn't worry about, who needs to get the ball, like, because who hasn't gotten. Obviously, he has a feel for who hasn't gotten the ball. I mean, he knows, like, Marv hasn't touched the ball all game. But if Greg Dortch is open and that's where the ball is supposed to go, he's not going to pass up on that. And from that standpoint, I feel like he played a good game. But when it came down to it, asking him to hit Marv on that play, the play that everybody's been talking about with the freeze frame of him, or the zoomed in view of him being by himself. If you really break down that play, which I looked at that play for about like 10 minutes, like, there to me wasn't there wasn't really a good opportunity for him to get the ball. Just from how the play started. The play started off with I think the slot had blitz, the nickel back had blitz, and so obviously he was looking at Greg Dortch right there, and he couldn't get it to him. So then he went to the left side of the field, and Corey, like you mentioned, coming back to that side of the field, he just kind of he probably just assumed that, hey, it's probably a safety over there, because that's what they have been doing all game.
All game.
Damar Hamlin, though, I don't know. He's just trash. He's just trash, and he was not back there, so it looks so much worse than what it actually is. And
Right.
I do also feel like Kyler saw him, but by the time he saw him, he also saw two dudes screaming back there.
Yeah.
And we still ended up with the first down, so it's not like like all like we didn't get anything out of that. Like we still end up with the first down,
Mm-hmm.
but man, it's just we were in a position to win that game, and that's just what stings the most about
Mm-hmm.
that game. We were in a position to win that game despite the defense just not being there in the second half, despite the vertical passing game not being there. We were in a position to
Mm-hmm.
win the game and we couldn't get it done. I didn't necessarily think the throw to Dortch on the last play was a bad throw. Honestly, it was his to me it was his best throw in the actual game. Like he
Mm-hmm.
put it 40 yards down the field on the money, hit Dortch in the chest. It's just that I mean he can only get one hand on the ball because somebody else was holding his other hand.
Dude, but
Um
like the fact that he even had to throw a 40-yard ball at the end there is just like terrible, just game management by
Yeah.
Petzing. We had plenty of time to
Right.
incrementally move the ball down the field, and
Mm-hmm.
instead of
yeah.
throwing a 40-yard fade at the corner, you can throw like a 15-yard fade like up to
Yeah.
our 6'4".
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you both.
Yeah.
I'm it's
I also I was
but
gonna say I also just think it's like in some situations though, like it's tough because like in that play in particular, I'm pretty sure they were blitzing. And it's
mm-hmm.
like, okay, we know how Kyler is in the pocket. Like when he's getting blitzed, most of the times he's gonna lock in on one guy and he knows where he's going with the ball. And if
Yeah.
he sees it's open, he's gonna take it. And it just so happened that Greg Dortch was the guy in the slot that play. I
Mm-hmm.
I hope that I hope that they move Marv around some, but like in that situation, like if it's me, yeah, okay, I'm putting Marv in the slot. If I know that okay, they're probably gonna come out and blitz. Like
Mm-hmm.
if we're gonna go to the slot fade, then we need our best player in this, in our best player in that situation in that position.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like I was gonna say I agree with you both in terms of that. Like that one, what that was his best throw today, and then two, where's the money play to get 7 yards? That's all you need. You didn't. It wasn't 5 seconds left on the clock. I think it might have been 30 some seconds left on the clock. Like
Yeah.
you give me
yeah,
7 yards and you get a fresh set of downs and you move forward. Like that was a huge gripe I had with the clip stuff. Go ahead, Jake.
2 timeouts left at that point too.
Exactly. Oh yeah, there you go. 2 timeouts left. So it's like that was a big problem I had with the cliff stuff was that why are these fade but where's the money play? Where's the play that you when you need it the most, you get certain amount of yards. Like you look at Kansas City in the Super Bowl. They're on the goal line. They don't need a massive or obviously it's a goal line, so it's a shorter distance, but what money play had they cooked up all week? That little play to Mecole Hardman, they ran it, they scored a touchdown. San Francisco didn't expect it, right? Obviously, you're into a new season, but where is the I need 8 yards play like that. Like that's I feel like Petzing is missing that. We'll talk about the passing game and stuff, but we can get into it right now with him specifically with Petzing. Like I feel like he's missing a lot of sometimes where it's like, what's the money play? That's not a run call. Like what's the money play that's not a run call? What's the money play that you can go to that you can dial up any type of formation it can come out in and look like, but that same type of concept works for them. I think about the LA Rams, and I specifically saw it yesterday on a touchdown or not yesterday on Sunday that a touchdown that Cooper Cup scored on. They motion him one way, motion him back the other way, and it looks like something, and it's an easy flat route for him to get 5 yards and a first down. He turns it up for a touchdown. It's something you need to have more plays like that. And again, yes, Kyler's small. Yes, he thinks they're blitzing. Yes, they could get their hands up on balls, but at the same time, you could also create lanes to move said pocket to make it easier for him to throw a 7 yard pass. Make him easier for him to throw a quick pass in order to gain a first down, get a fresh set of downs. Everybody resets, calms down, and they figure everything out. Because again, we know how Kyler, like everybody knows, like Kyler gets massively frantic in those situations, and it becomes a situation where it's like, yes, it's a perfectly thrown go ball, but that's not the ball you should be throwing, and that's not the player that you should be throwing that to at that instance. And overall, like, I didn't really understand the Petzing stuff. Like, what I
do you
love to
ever
see. Go ahead.
I got a question now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever feel like the defense is like playing to that? It's almost like they know like okay, Kyler might want to go to Marv's side, so we're gonna blitz him from that side to force
Hmm.
him to go to the opposite side. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
I did.
Do you ever feel like
I
that
agree.
kind of like affects it?
I think when you say that, I think I did see a lot of that where it was like the simulated pressure would come on the side that they think he may be throwing too hot, like that blitz
Hmm.
that you mentioned on the big play that everybody's talking about that
Hmm.
came from the right side. Like I saw pressure that didn't allow certain people to get the ball. At least Kyler throwing to his right because they constantly blitzed the right side, and it was like one because maybe they blitzed the right side because Rousseau. It was just like, all right, Rousseau versus Perry Johnson. Rousseau, you're either going to win or you're not going to win, and we're going to bring pressure on the opposite side. Mix that in with Von Miller, see what we can do there. But
Yep.
it was just a lot of like that late delayed pressure. It was like 4-man rush. Here comes a late blitzer. 4-man rush. Here comes two guys on the backside. Like it was a lot of keeping him in the pocket, bottling up, which we'll talk about with the defense that they did a great job of, and they didn't pursue him. Not they pursued him a couple of times, but they didn't pursue him all at once. It may have been one guy or two, but then everything else was just corral, corral, corral. Obviously, sometimes he slipped it, especially in the first half. He was slipping a lot of stuff, getting out the pocket, but it was a lot of corral, 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 as we've seen for the main defensive game plan against Kyler Murray or against a lot of mobile quarterbacks. And so, like, to me, like, it was just like you see Petson come out and a bunch of these, like the way Buffalo plays when it comes to like their zone coverages, they'll run mostly zone all game long. It's a rarity for them to play man-to-man defense. And so you sit there and talk about you're coming out in compression sets, I loved seeing the pistol, but I think I saw too much of it. Like again, I love seeing the compression. I just saw too much of it. If Kyler's having trouble hitting people quickly, right, or I should say this, if Kyler's having trouble getting the ball down the field, to Cliff's credit, and I hate giving it to him, what do? You spread the field out and you make the lanes easier for him to see who may be open. That way they can't just play a compressed set because entirely for me, I saw so many, and this is what Buffalo and McDermott love to do. They love to have a safety at one spot before the play, roll them to another spot when the play is hiked or when the ball is hiked. And it's like, okay, you see a bunch of that. You see a bunch of rolling coverages. You see a bunch of mixed looks. If they're spread out, they can't mix looks like that because it's already set up for you to see what's going on. And so again, we love to see the run game. I love seeing Kyler Murray under center. I love seeing him in pistol. I love seeing him hand the ball off. I love seeing the run game be great. But at the same time, if you're struggling to move the ball down the field and or you're struggling to push the ball down the field, you need to play into some of his strengths, which is opening the field up and seeing things like that. And I think a lot of that would have helped Marvin get more targets, garner more targets. You're not keeping everything in tight, and you're not running the same route concepts on both sides of the field, which absolutely I did not understand that at either Petzing. So I put it on Twitter like Drew Petzing and Drew Terrell, you guys need to work this week. I need to figure out what's going on with this because this passing game, it cannot be bottom tier again. Kyler's too good of a quarterback. Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Trey McBride, they're too good of receivers for you to have a porous passing game yet again. Josh Dobbs, that's understandable, right? A bunch of rookies and Greg Dortch, that's understandable. Not when you have the rookie, experienced players in Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and Trey McBride. Even when Zay Jones gets back, all these guys, like you have to be able to produce down the field. It doesn't have to be bombs. It doesn't have to be, 40-yard hole shots all the time. Can I get a 15-yard completion down the field when you need it? That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for.
Also, I was about to say real quick. I don't think we really like utilize Kyler's legs enough either, and not even
enough.
like saying
Yeah.
like I don't even want to say utilize them. Like I don't even think that it was used as a threat.
Mhm.
Like just even going empty, like you're talking about, like spreading people out. Like you still have to worry about Kyler running the ball, even if he's not running the ball.
Mhm.
Like he's still a running back in the backfield if he's just back there by himself. Like
Mhm.
I don't think we really put him, if we rolled him out the pocket at all, like any of
Yeah.
that type of stuff to get like just kind of the threat, simulate the threat of him using his legs. Like I think he
Yeah.
pulled the ball one time, but
Mhm.
outside of that, everything was just like if
And
he
it,
ran, it was because he like broke
yeah.
away from the pocket.
And at the time he pulled the ball, they were in damn near goal line heavy. They had
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 tight ends on the field, and I think Tip was in. I think they had maybe extra tackle in, and they just ran a read option like that. Like last time I checked, Von Miller tore his Achilles last year, and he's almost 40 years old. You don't try to run Kyler at him and make him stress him out the entire game.
Right.
That's a little funky to me. I would just say like Drew Petzing again, and then you start to realize, okay, well, him, Gannon, and Rollis, who we'll get into all of them. Like they are all still second year coordinators. They are still learning themselves. Obviously, you want them to be better suited for a game one because you've had a certain amount of time to prepare and stuff like that. But these guys are still learning when it comes to full on game planning for their units and stuff like that, and properly executing stuff like that. And I don't know how many times Drew Petzing has been a part of a game plan versus a Buffalo or Sean McDermott defense, but Sunday wasn't good enough. I don't really know what they thought they were going to expect. Like I already knew why. I mean, you saw last year Buffalo's been good against number one wide receivers all the time because they bracket them, because since they lost since Trey White has been elite, they haven't had a super great corner out there with them. So it's like they have to play like that. They have to keep a safety over the top. They have to bracket receivers who are really good because they fear that their corners aren't good enough one-on-one consistently to keep up with these guys. So that wasn't surprising at all to me to see that he got doubled or even bracket coverage a lot. But you have to be able, if you're going to take him number 4, which I agree with a lot of people, or I agree with anybody that was making this take, if you're going to take him number 4, you have to be able to develop him and use him in ways that are going to be defense proof. Like Justin Jefferson gets every attention every time. He's defense proof. Because why? Because Kevin O'Connell knows how to scheme him open and get him the ball and whatever spot that defense is maybe trying to apply to him. So it's a learning curve. It shouldn't have been a learning curve for 6 months, right? It shouldn't have been a learning curve. But clearly, what we have to realize now in our expectations is that it's going to be a learning curve for him to figure out how to scheme this guy open, because obviously now that this tape is out there, now that this fashion of how it is out there, teams can emulate this and say, oh, well, if you want to take away Marvin because we don't think that they can run the ball against us, which we weren't really able to do in the second half. If we don't think that they can run the ball against us, we're going to take Marvin out of the game and force other people to win. So, again, Drew Petzing, you did a great job in the first half. It was a nice opening script game plan, but when second half adjustments are needed, which we saw last year, sometimes also didn't go well, second half adjustments, you have to be better at that. You have to produce for your team in your way. Like Kyler Murray has said out to the public that he put his full trust in you for his game, because he no longer wants to be superhero. He wants to be a part of the team that supports it. So he's putting his trust into you to supply that. And you, like you said, Jake, you mentioned about how he's saying, or Shaw, you mentioned this. He's going to where Drew Petzing says he's going to give them the ball. He has full trust in him. Okay. Yeah. So you tell me that, that's fine. You tell me that. But I need to see it in fruition. I need to see it be executed. I need to see it be executed properly. And that was the biggest thing. So, like, plenty of room to grow.
I want to add to Kyler. So he rushed for 60 yards, and that was like effortless. Like you see Lamar rush for 100, and you're like, holy shit! Like Lamar just ran for 100 yards. Like Kyler could easily do the same thing, but you have to give him a chance to option. You know what I mean? And keep it and take it. It's a huge asset that we can use to our advantage. I feel like you got to bring that in if you want to, because in 2021 it worked. We were winning games because we had DeAndre Hopkins, who we just throw the ball up to, and he can make any catch in the book. And you also had the threat of Kyler with his legs. And that's why it's so hard to play the Ravens as well. I just think if you're Petzing, it's like it's staring you right in the face. It's not like a crazy concept. It makes sense, and it would lead to more winning. I will say, though, I definitely was impressed with how the Bills were able to defend us. I think, too, like, obviously we're all sitting here being, like, mostly critical just considering we lost the game, but it's wild that, like, a couple things go differently. Even really just, like, one thing goes differently. We get the win, and, you know, instead of being critical, we're saying, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, Kyler only threw for, 180 yards, but he rushed for 65 and 2 touchdowns and got the win, took down a juggernaut on the road, and it was right there. So I definitely don't want to get like too down about the loss. But I will say, like, to go all the way back, Corey, to your point about like we got to have it play. I honestly feel like at this point in time, it's Greg Dortch on like a little like quick slant across the middle. Like that guy, he is literally always open, and like you got to be able to key in on him, you know, from like a offensive scheming perspective in those got to have it moments. Don't send him deep, just like something across the middle or a quick out. And I feel like he's going to be able to take it. He's proven multiple times that he has ultimate ball security. And he's a guy that, unlike Kyler, unlike Rondale Moore, like course, Kyler's a quarterback, but he welcomes contact. Like he's gonna fight for every single yard, and he'll move the pile like at 5'7", 175. Additionally, I want to mention, like everyone's talking about how like Marv like isn't a rookie, you know, he's NFL ready, this, that, and the other thing. Like if you really watch the tape, I disagree, right? Like I got this 2 fantasy leagues. I was absolutely stoked when he got him. If you look at my bio on X, it's literally like it's the quote from Kyler in that video watching the Cards draft Marv. Like I'm super high in Marv, just like everyone is, but he looks just like a rookie to me. His routes weren't super crisp in my opinion. Wasn't getting crazy separation. Obviously, he was being shadowed most of the game.
Yep.
The drop, even his first target, like a good receiver is going to be able to adjust. I don't know if you guys remember, but he just didn't have the feel where he was running down the right sideline. I think it was the first drive, and Kyler threw it back shoulder for like a great little, like, I want to say like 12 yard, just like shoulder, grab it, inbounds, move the chains, and he just never turned around. And he, like when he did, it was like too late. The ball was like a couple feet behind him, and that was just kind of ugly. And that was like my first little bit of like an alarm bell, where it's like, all right, this game might not go as I expected it to go as far as connection. And then obviously that coupled with the drop was just bad. And then that little like force play that everyone was like going nuts on Twitter, like, oh, it's so good. Like he drops the ball, and then you just want to force it to him right after. And it's like, all right, like most of our fans are going to make that catch like for 4 yards, right, and just go down immediately. But
can I just say real quick?
What's
that play where they force fed him the ball should have been the first play of the game.
I totally agree.
The first play of the game.
And the fact is too, it would have made a lot more sense at that time. You know what I mean? Than on 2nd and long, and then 3rd and long, or 3rd and medium. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. And like I saw someone else make the point about, you want to like get Marvin into the game, like you gotta motion him and like switch him up, like, you know, show him on both sides of the field and really just like force him into the game. But I wanted to make the point that if he is like a little bit, I'm not gonna say like not ready, but if he's not like as primed as we thought to go and you know, have a Puka Nacua like 1,400 plus yards, like that's fine. Like let him develop. He's obviously going to be great. But lean into guys like McBride. Like McBride last year basically put up like 700 yards with Kyler alone, right? Like he was like, if Kyler played the whole season last year, he was on pace for 1,400 yards himself. He's 6'3", like 250, like, or like 230, like he's a beast, right? Like he's got great hands. I just read a great article about him and his brother, and just like showing like how good of an athlete and how much of a dominant player he is. Like if Marv isn't going to be that guy that's going to be able to like get you the big plays and like have the sure hands, then just go back to, or if he's being double, triple covered, go back to leaning on McBride, because he's proven that he can gash defenses. And I'm just a little bit disappointed that Hetzing wasn't able to do that more. Like Dortch had 50 yards easily, right? Like, it didn't even feel like he had 50 yards. Michael Wilson had that great touchdown grab. So it's just, for me, it's like, if you're having that issue with Marv, like, let them double cover him. Other guys are going to be open. And if Kelvin Beachum is a revolving door, then let's start rolling Kyler out like Doug Flutie style to the left side where there was great protection, and pull guys over that side so we can find something like slant across the middle, have a guy sit down, like just to like up the completions and just continue to move the ball. And the thing was, like, it is a tale of two tapes. Like the first half, like we absolutely destroyed them, right? Like 17-3, we were rolling. We, like I said, the first drive was 7 minutes and 13 seconds, like had all the control in the game. And Jonah Williams goes down, Beachum comes in, becomes a liability, like adjust, right? Like they score, but Bills end up scoring 17-10 going into half, get the ball back 17-17. Like, and it sucks to say, but in that moment when they scored again so easily, I was like, all right, it's over, because the offense just doesn't look the same, or hasn't looked the same. And or actually, no, at that point we hadn't even been on the field in 2 drives. But it's like if they're able to roll down the field on us this easily, like it's not going to be good. And then from that point on, I think the very next drive was the strip sack. So So just not being able to adjust, it's pretty brutal by Petzing. And like to make matters worse, like I feel like we kind of like overshadowed the fact that we had 100+ yard kick return touchdown by DJ Dallas. That like was the only reason we were even in the game, right? Like we were down what was it, 31-20 at that point. It's like
yeah,
pretty brutal because it's like you don't get that. Like that's not going to happen again. It's not looking as close as we had thought. So I guess we did deserve to lose, and I think it comes down to Petzing just not adjusting. But yeah, like I said, just to reiterate, if Marv's not gonna be able to go out and blow the top off right away, we got to go back to like the proven formula, which I do feel like is Trey McBride. So
the last thing I wanted to say, Corey, before you go and before I guess we get away from the offense, actually real quick, I want to say that I'm not super pessimistic about the offense. When it comes to the offense, at least like we have answers to all the questions or to all the things that we did wrong, like from this game. Like we know what we need to do. We know it can be fixed. We know we got the guys to fix it. So I'm not worried about the offense. But Jake, you brought up a good point when you're just talking about like the motion and stuff. I don't know how many times we motion Marv, but like going forward, like Marv needs to definitely be getting motion, like, I don't know, like 2, 3, 4 times a game. Like, just because if you think about it, if he's our best player on the field, like if we motion him from one side to the other, that just changes the entire defense. Like whatever the defense is thinking, they're like, oh, okay, all right, now he's going to the right side of the field. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much we can do off of that. And I feel like if he is that guy, like we drafted him to be that guy, then he needs to be involved in ways like that. Because otherwise, we're just lining him up in like you mentioned, Corey. You said somebody mentioned like the Zach Pascal role. Like he's not really. He's just out there, not really doing anything. He's not really involved.
Don't do him to Zach Pascal, brother.
I was gonna ask y'all, what do y'all think Monty Ossenfort was taking away from looking at that game? Because he spent a premium pick on that guy, and it hit that guy didn't result in winning the game. What did he say? Marvin, we want you to come in. We want you to get open, catch the ball, and win us some football games. He didn't get open. He didn't catch the ball. We didn't win a football game. So 3 out of 3 that he did that you wanted him to do, he didn't do.
Right.
And Jake, it's funny that you mentioned what you said. I literally told Shaw before we went live. I said, yeah, his tape very lackluster. He doesn't look fast. He doesn't look fast. He didn't look like he was in and out of his breaks. And the biggest thing that I was saying, he looks non-generational. I was told that he's a generational prospect. You look at his film, he's a very generational player. He does this. He has this type of speed. He didn't run a 40, but he has this type of speed. He has this ability to catch the ball in any type of contention. He has every route release that you would think of in the book. And again, these things take time because he's never truly played an NFL game. He's played NFL practice snaps. He's gone against some training camp. He's gone against some training camp bodies at a certain point. He played 3 snaps in a real game, and that was it. Like, so he's never gone against NFL level caliber people. And Rasul Douglas, I respect Rasul Douglas. I don't like him obviously because of the 7-0, but I respect Rasul Douglas as a player. He should not be guarding Marvin Harrison the way that he was. He couldn't get off of. And Rasul Douglas pressed him. He couldn't get off of him. I watched it multiple times. He couldn't get off of him, and that's stuff that's like upsetting and frustrating. And then we listen again. Preseason doesn't matter to some teams. That can be fine. I can understand why this team didn't play in the preseason because they have done a lot of work in the offseason. They didn't have that. They didn't have, like I mentioned, they didn't have a long playoff run. They weren't in the playoffs. Their main player that they wanted health-wise, he had only played 8 games. So not playing in the preseason, I get that. But I should not hear the quarterback at the end of the game say, we don't have a connection. We barely play with each other. You have 3 free games to do so.
He said
right?
that?
He mentioned that in the post-game press conference. He said we haven't played with each other. Somebody I think asked him about something, and he said we haven't played with each other, right? So you sit there and I say, well, maybe going forward in the future, this coaching staff, Jonathan Gannon, because again, only in year 2 of running his system and running his culture and whatever he implements, maybe you rethink about playing in preseason games. I don't care what the 49ers are doing. I don't care what the Chiefs are doing. That doesn't matter to me. The fact that you spent a premium pick on a receiver when quarterback and receiver chemistry is the most important when it comes to their success, and you don't play them in a few snaps together for them to understand what kind of tempo they use with each other. How did the
And they
ball
can
come
make
out of his hands?
mistakes.
How can he see it and they can make mistakes? So that Sunday, a back shoulder pass is completed, not dropped, or not even thought about that the ball is coming to his way. So when he goes out there and he runs a stop route 12 yards down the field and he turns around, his hands aren't slippery glue because he's so damn nervous to catch his first NFL pass. It's just things of that nature. Maybe we rethink going forward in the future. And again, I said after that first drive, I tweeted, I said, so about that preseason. I was lit. I was happy. But then you think about it, you go back to it and you say, well, maybe the preseason is more important for a team, especially that garners and acquires a brand new skill player that needs timing, reps, and acumen. Like I love the LA trip. It's great. It's fun. It's good vibes. I love the videos from it and all. That's not games. Those are practices. Those are routes on air. Like that's not actual. Okay, he's getting pressed a little bit. How do I get the ball to him in this sense? Like it's just.
Go
ahead.
I agree with everything you're saying, Corey, and honestly, it just like kind of spawned a bunch of ideas in my head. I wanted to ask, do you guys remember which pick Justin Jefferson was drafted with?
21.
21. Okay. So, because I've seen the argument where people are saying like, oh, like Justin Jefferson first 2 games, right? Like 2 targets, 1 catch. You know what I mean? Like you guys have probably seen that. The thing is, Marvin was drafted 4th. He's the first receiver off the board. He was drafted to immediately come in and be a star, right? And maybe it was foolish by me, but honestly, like I've done a lot of watching lately of 2021 season and just kind of like observing the connection between Kyler and Hop. And I thought that we were going to come out and see like that type of level pretty quickly. And honestly, like I gotta say, like DeAndre Hopkins, I hope you're watching this. I'm sorry for just completely downplaying and underestimating just how much of a freak he was. Because honestly, man, like that was a special time. And like going back and like watching some of those old highlights with Hopkins, like he was just an absolute force. And I think Marv's got a ways to go before he's anywhere near that level in the NFL. Additionally, like building off what you're saying, Corey. Yeah, it totally should have played in the preseason, Kyler and Marv, at least a couple snaps per game and just target Marv right off the rip and just like you said, so he wouldn't have dropped that first ball and just would have been more on time. And honestly, like I'm kind of spiteful, like in looking back, because all we've heard is like, oh, we got this great connection. Like Buddha was saying, like, oh, you can't hit Marv right in practice, like. Of course, like the media has been glazing in. Of course, they all see it, right? So, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm Michael Wilson, if I'm McBride, Dortch, like especially Dortch, right? Like Dortch comes in, he's literally what 9 inches shorter than Marv, and and he's getting open and he's fighting through contact and making grabs and given he's a little bit older, but like, come on, dude, like It's pretty bad. Like it was bad. I'm not gonna lie.
You can't treat Marv like a superstar receiver in practice, but not treat him like a superstar receiver on the field.
Period. No, I totally
like,
agree. And honestly, if he's gonna come out and he's not gonna put up 50 plus against the Rams, then I want like a serious drop off as far as like media coverage, media obsession. Like make him earn it, right? Like and Corey, like one thing you said that I don't fully disagree with, but I just like want to highlight an interesting idea. You said you don't care what the Chiefs are doing, what the Niners are doing. Those 2 teams, like off the rip, look like they might go back to the big game against each other. Maybe we should take a little bit of a closer look at what they're doing. If they're playing their starters in the preseason, like those 2 teams came out and didn't skip a beat, right? Like they looked insane. Like I was
gonna say I'm more so saying like just because I'm really saying that because when you add a player of like a skill position player that is probably going to get the ball a lot in terms of that. Like if you draft Joel, like if you draft Joel at 4, okay, I don't really care if you play in the preseason because his job is to run block. He knows, or his job is to block. He knows how to block. Like there's not a chemistry factor on the field that you have to get down with a Joel. There's a chemistry factor that you have to get down and a timing factor that you have to get down with Marvin. So that's really what I was saying. I don't care about what they're doing, but more so like say next year we go high and maybe a defender that we wanted isn't there, but you end up getting another wide receiver. Like say T Mac comes out and like I mean obviously this is like a far fetched idea, but like T Mac from Arizona is there and you want to go straight trees on the outside, like I you need to put him and Kyler need to play with each other in a preseason game in order for me to have faith that he's going to have success going in at least to start the season. Because again, there's a lot of pressure now on Marvin to have success in his next game, and I feel badly for that because it shouldn't be all on his hands. In order, again, his job is we listed the three main jobs that he's supposed to do, and now it's leaning like he's going to have to be the savior of this pass game, and that's the fear that I don't want for him to have, especially in his rookie season. Like his rookie season, he's here to help this team build on what the top 10 offense that throughout the 8 games that Kyler built, he's here to help build on top of that. He's here to make that explosive. It just didn't feel like anything like that. It felt like he was loafing around. It felt like he was just taking his time. It felt like he didn't expect anything to come to him. So I'm not going to sell my routes as hard, or I'm not going to run as fast as I can. Like that was a little bit worrisome for me, and just like an upsetting fact of looking back on it. And I hope Marvin Harrison, I hope Senior's in his ear like, bro, you need to be running every route that you do. It don't matter if you're getting the ball or not. You need to be running hard every play. And he knows this. He went to Ohio State. Brian Hartline was his wide receiver coach. You know this. Like, you know this in and out. Like, I'm not worried about him as a talent. I'm worried about him as his mental. Like, you need to be able to make sure that you stay locked in 24/7 because we need you. This team is relying on you to elevate this passing game that was the bottom 20 last year.
I totally agree with what you're saying. And honestly, like a worry that I have is I feel like Marvin Sr. might be saying the opposite in his ear, because Marv was talking a lot like maybe he should have run a 40. Like maybe he should have participated in the combine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he should have been getting ready to go and ramping it up. But
mm-hmm.
he highlighted the fact that, my dad said like the rookie wall is like a huge thing and like don't want that. And like I had pointed out in joint practices in camp, like when people were talking about how he looked slow, like maybe his dad told him like don't go all out like right away, and maybe that like transpired in the first game. But I think it's an absolute disaster that he didn't play more in the preseason, because he's clearly was not NFL ready in week 1. Clearly like felt a ton of pressure, like probably ran the wrong route on the ball that he didn't turn around on, and he just made a clean drop on the second one. Basically a non-factor in the game. So, I feel like had he played in the preseason and been able to get that live time and just like get used to it, like we wouldn't have had to use the first real game on the road heading into a gauntlet of a 3-game stretch as our first preseason game, right? Between Kyler and the most important player not named Kyler Murray on the team.
Right.
And just frustrating. I really think that they just dropped the ball on that. And I just want to point out too, I have Kyler and Marv as a stack in my my like high stakes dynasty league, and Marv found his way to the bench this week, so just wanted to throw that out.
You might got to put that boy back in that starting lineup.
Yeah, you might have to put him back in there.
He's staying out, bro. I would rather him go off on my bench this week, and then I can confidently throw him back in. But I got too many.
Be hurt again.
I got Brian Thomas waiting. I got Malik Neighbors. I can't put Marv back in that flex spot right now.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say I feel you, but like I really just put majority on Drew Petzing, bro. Like Marv could have easily went out there and caught 5 balls for like 50 yards or like 40 yards. But like he just wasn't involved in the offense. Like they just weren't looking his way. He wasn't in the same position that a Greg Dortch was when Kyler's looking for the slant route on 3rd and 2 or something like that. Like he just wasn't there. And I don't think that they utilized him enough early on in the game to where it was like in the second half, even if they were passing the ball, I still don't know how much he would have gotten involved. Just because they didn't come out and make it a focal point that Marvin Harrison Jr. is on this team. It was just kind of like, y'all seen what he's done in college, so you kind of got to respect him. No, make them respect him. Show us what he can do. Put the ball in his hands. And they didn't do that. So I put majority of his first game on Drew Petzing, and less of it on him.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that, but I think this is the first time that I've ever been disappointed with this current staff.
Yeah. Especially offensively.
Right.
Offensively for sure.
Especially
And
offensively.
I want to reiterate, or emphasize, I am disappointed with what they did. I think the defense played a lot better than anticipated, and the offense just looked so promising, and then just quickly just fell the hell off. And
Yeah.
by God, I hope Jonah Williams is okay.
That offensive game, not a game plan. The way that Drew Petzing maybe wants to play offense does not fit with how the defense will allow things to happen. Like in a game of that 17-3 caliber, once it becomes 17-17, it's yes, it's 0-0, but the pressure is now on you to make a play. It's now on you to build it up. And you can, and again, if they start keying on the run plays, if their nose tackles and defensive tackles and linebackers are starting to crash down, where's the heavy play fake, play action? Roll Kyler out. Let him find a wide open guy that may be on the flat. Like, why did I not? I saw zero. I don't, and this baffled me. I mean, Elijah Higgins, I think, caught one. I saw zero. Literally play action Y leak. Literally is the main play that I think this team can run successfully and garner a ton of yards off of. George Kittle has made a career off of PAY leak. I don't understand why I did not see a single time where Trey McBride is the lone tight end on one side, you play action the opposite side, you throw it to him on the backside, you let him run somebody over for 8 yards and or get a first down. Like, I don't understand why I saw none of that. It was so much any of their play action was pistol, ball out, old school pistol style. The defense can still see the ball. The defense can still know that you're running a not giving the ball off. So it's like, that's not the clearest play action for that. And are you afraid of Von Miller? Are you afraid of Greg Rousseau? You have to threaten these guys. And that's why we mentioned with the read option, threatening them with the read option makes them hesitate on coming up the field so quickly. Like, literally, they come up every game plan since that Lions game in 2021 defensively has been the same against Kyler. Your DNs are going to run up the field. They're not going to blitz them. They're going to run up the field. They're going to stand on the outside. They're not going to let them throw outside. And then you're going to bring some type of pressure interior to either get balls batted down and or just get pressure in his face. There is a way to block that in order to roll him out to get that. Like, I didn't see enough of that. And it just makes it just like, maybe Drew Petzing isn't ready for a head coaching job. So maybe we don't have to worry about him leaving so much. A lot of us, I know we mentioned that. Yeah, we mentioned that in one of the offseason previews that maybe he's a candidate to be gone. Maybe not now, because again, if you're not able to develop a passing game in this NFL, you're not going to have a job. You can be a great run game coordinator all you want to. Like, who's buddy that got arrested in Mexico? Sean Kugler, right? Great run game coordinator. He doesn't have a job anymore. I haven't heard that he has a job for somebody, and I don't think he would have a job in the NFL. Maybe as an assistant, but not as a coordinator or whatever it is, coach, because he's a run game coordinator. He's not a passing game, so he's not an offensive, like, putting it all together, I should say. So, like, Drew Petzing, you got a lot of work to do.
I think too, like, if you look back at the tape, like, I wish we would take a little bit of a play out of Josh Allen's playbook. Like, it seemed like it got to a point where they were inviting the rush, like, come blitz me, like, basically like shake one sack attempt and then boom, like 2 touchdowns on the run, like countless scrambles for positive gains. And I feel like Kyler thrives when like, if our offensive line can create the chaos, like, that's where Kyler's going to get you. Like, I just recently watched like Kyler's 3 top NFL top 100 player like recaps, and like it was all just guys like Fred Warner, like Garrett, talking about not being able to catch this guy like in the open field, and basically like, if he gets around you, like, you're in trouble. And we just, like, this Petzing, like, ground and pound, it's like, dude, yeah, maybe this would work if you're San Francisco, right? Like, you have Christian McCaffrey and now this stud Jordan Mason and an elite offensive line to just bulldoze your way, and then they sell out for the run, and then boom, you can throw to literally a 4-headed monster and just have your way with really any team. But we're like, our team's not set up for that, because they follow that up with, all right, if they get stopped and they stall and have to punt, now they're bringing on a Pro Bowl defense, to like back it up. But as you had said, Corey, when you're up 17-3, and this is why it's brutal too. Like I know I'm all over the place here, but like Sean McDermott, I think is a terrible head coach, and the fact that they were able to take a play out of Bill Belichick's playbook and score going into half, and then score right after to tie it up, like that obviously killed all momentum. It completely killed the game plan. But it seemed like Petzing obviously didn't adjust to it. It's like, dude, like had it been in the third quarter already and we're up 17-3, sure, run the rock, just keep pounding the ball.
Exactly.
Go with these 7-minute drives, right? Like figure it out. You have them on their heels. All of a sudden, when it's a 17-17 game and they've scored 2 touchdowns in a row, and they're at home and they've completely taken the momentum back from you, bro, we gotta try something else and like start to shake it up. Like, give me the play action, give me some shots down the field, like give the wide receivers a chance to draw pass interference. Like you can't like get cute at that point. And you know, like the Connor shotgun outside handoff on third and 10, like with the game.
Look,
dude, what are we doing? Like,
personally, like, I don't mind the idea behind it. I just don't like the call. Like, if you line them up, if you line them up and spread them out, and that's what you give Kyler the ability to say, hey, look, if it's only 4 people at the line of scrimmage, run it. If not, then pass it. If you give him that ability, I like the call. But just how they lined up and how they did that, it just wasn't it.
Yeah,
like it just wasn't it.
And that's also in my notes too. I'm watching too many pull counter plays. I'm watching way too many pull counter plays.
Way too many.
Especially when a tackle like Kelvin Beachum, he can't hold up his own. Why are you pulling opposite side of him? He's going to give up a run side, and that guy can just shoot gap and tackle the guy or slow down James Conner's run, and or even Paris Johnson in certain aspects. Like just too many pull counters. That clearly is his favorite run, but way too many pull counters. And you hear Mina Khan talk about this diverse Cardinals run game, how they tried every single type of run game and run in the book. I saw maybe 2 different style of runs, and it was way too many heavy pull counters versus a fast front 4 that can crash on you quick. It doesn't really matter if you're blocking them or not. They're a fast front 4. Ed Oliver is a freak athlete. Greg Russo, a freak athlete. Von Miller, clearly, I don't know what spiked up in his Achilles, but he's clearly still a freak athlete. So like you can't use those type of runs like that. Meanwhile, I'm watching San Francisco run duo plays, and they're getting double teams on the 4 defense. They're getting double teams on the 2 defensive tackles. The tight ends coming down to kick out. The wide receivers kicking out, and they score an easy play right up the middle. Right? It's just you have a diverse offense. Use it. It doesn't have to be in that the style that you may think may counter whatever they're doing. Like you have a diverse offense. You have a physical front and interior line. Froholt, Hernandez, Brown, physical players. Utilize that. They don't have to pull all the time. Utilize their physicality. Go north and south sometimes, especially 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10, you shouldn't be running anything side to side. You should be going north and south if that's your idea to catch them off guard, because you want to gain a couple of yards in order to make your 4th down easier. And that's really like that to me was like, again, like Petzing, I like him. He did a good job last year with what he had. But you've been given a blessing of a resource of Marvin Harrison Jr. And as my boy Shaw says, use him. Let Marv
cook, man. Let that man cook.
Simple as that.
Dude, I want to say too, like with Kyler, like obviously he's short, and like you do have that issue of like the potential for batted balls, and then like sometimes like the difficulty seeing over guys that are 6'5", like standing straight up. But like use that to your advantage, right? Like if you're gonna line up under center with Connor behind you, fake the handoff. No one's gonna see it coming, right? Like how many highlight reels have we seen of Kyler would do that exact thing and then scamper to one of the sides and take the ball for 10 plus yards? Like you got to be able to integrate that into your play calling more, because I don't even know if he did that a single time, but that like one of my favorite Kyler concepts is seeing him fake the dive and just become an athlete, man. Like run it out or find someone to dump it off to. Like I don't know. I like Petzing. I hope he has a long talk with himself this week.
Don't make me do this. Don't, because I don't want to give that man credit. Don't make me do this. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm only 9 games in. So I'm not giving that man credit right now. You can find me week 8 if it comes down to that. Then we can talk about it. But I'm not giving him credit right now.
Oh
So we're done
man,
with that.
you gotta let
Go ahead,
that
Shot.
hate go, man. I said you
No,
gotta let that hate
no,
go.
I'm not, bro. I can't.
No, I was just about to say, Jake, this is what I was saying, man. Like this was the only thing I was worried about, bro. Just like the coaches not being locked in, bro.
Yeah.
Like the players and everybody was locked. The players was locked in. Like everybody was doing their thing, but and I don't know if we're gonna talk too much about the defense today, but
We'll get into it a little bit.
yeah, but Drew just wasn't locked in, man.
Now he dropped the ball. I put that loss totally on him.
Mm-hmm.
The defense more than I expected, honestly. So I think all the blame goes to Petsing, in my opinion.
A couple comments here from Dana. She's chiming in. She says, third play of the game, both Michael Wilson and MHJ are open on the deep curls. Both flats are open too. But Kyler takes the running back option check down instead. It may just be a matter of trust in James Conner, which I can agree. I maybe it was just, getting it out of his hands. He felt the pressure, felt the rush. Who knows? But it's like those type of things, those work when you have a preseason because you know the timing. If this is a timing-based offense, why not run? Why not go out there and develop the timing?
And we
It's
know
very,
we
very
know
curious.
what type of guy Kyler is. Kyler loves to lock on to the guys that he trusts.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if he hasn't, like you said, if he hasn't developed a rapport with Marv in the game, he's going to go to the guys that he trusts. He loves Greg Dortch. He loves Greg Dortch.
They better be playing Marv physical in practice this week. Like honestly, like forcing him full speed, get open, let Kyler throw him the ball, start making some catches. Because I can't. I honestly don't know. I'm gonna be down on Cape Cod this weekend watching the game. Bunch of my buddies who are always super critical of Kyler and the Cardinals. So, another stinker. I don't know how I'm gonna handle it, man. I don't know.
If Marvin struggles with Tre'Davious White off of whatever injury he had on year whatever he's in, that'll be a telltale sign because you saw Jamison Williams absolutely cook Trey White. So like you want to see Marvin Harrison have that same success. Like she also mentioned Dortch and to an extent McBride just had more of it. She's talking about the trust. So like you saw that throughout the game, throughout the entirety of the second half. Still, even when they weren't completing targets, the way that the passes were going were towards those guys. So you want that to develop from Marvin, obviously. And again, she follows up with what we're saying. She needs to watch more, but I do think the lack of preseason action is showing. And hey, they didn't do preseason last year, and it bit them in the butt a little bit. Obviously, maybe they couldn't do it because they wanted to just develop Clayton Tune and what's his name? Colt McCoy couldn't do it, and then they didn't get Josh Dobbs until the season started. But you had Kyler Murray this entire offseason. You said, I was told from Drew Petzing and Jonathan Gannon, we've seen enough. They don't have to play in the preseason. So I didn't see enough when the game counted. And that's a critical point we're going to have to make. We love these guys in terms of what they're doing for this franchise, but we have to be critical when we have to be critical. And these are critical things that we need to talk about. And so probably in the future-wise, you'll see this team obviously play in a preseason, especially if you're integrating a weapon. If you're integrating a skill position player, you need that for your quarterback. I can remember Saquon Barkley's first game. I was like, he was the second overall pick. His first game, he's going crazy. I think that was a game against the Jags, going absolutely nuts. It's easier for a running back to just implement themselves, boy. You just get the ball and run, right? Receiver and quarterback, it's timing. It's all process. It's all about getting open and finding your spots. So
I agree, but it shouldn't be hard for Mark to go ahead and put up at least like 50 yards this week.
Yeah.
Who did we play? Who did we play week 2 last year? Was that the Giants?
Giants, yep.
All right. Okay.
And they had a great offensive game until it bluttered in the second half.
Let's not revisit that one.
I was just about to say we need to come out like that, but win the game.
Yeah, but hold on.
We need to come out like that, but win the game.
Yeah. Before we jump into the Rams, I had a couple of points in the defense. If you guys wanted to jump in there, yeah. So I don't know if you guys remember. I hope you do. But my biggest offseason signing, free agent signing really, was Mac Wilson, and I feel like he just absolutely balled out, and he's an absolute wrecking ball. He totally suits this team. I bet he's honestly one of JJ's favorites already. him and Kaiser together is going to be lethal. We're going to see a lot of production out of those two. So I just wanted to say, like, he was probably, in my opinion, the MVP of the defense this past week. And
he needs to play more.
Needs to play more, man. Like I think he can rush the passer. Like he can intercept the ball. He almost held on to that one that Allen threw like right into his hands. Like it was that was almost 6 the other way. So no, I really liked what I saw to him. As far as the secondary, I was honestly like pleasantly surprised. I feel like Buddha, Jalen kind of held it down, but one critical mistake that we made was just putting bodies on Dalton Kincaid. Like, I understand the thought going into that. Like, we've historically been burned by tight ends, but like, again, not adjusting mid-game. Like, clearly, like, he was taken out of the game. 1 catch for 11 yards. Like, he was a non-factor. Start to shift it around a little bit. Like, the guys that are holding him down, instead of having like 3 there, maybe we go with 2, and then we like add some help over on Shakir or Max Shoeless Hollins. Like, you gotta be able to adjust on the fly. And I don't think we did a great job of that on defense, but Roy Lopez had an unbelievable sack, which was a strip sack, which was huge. And obviously that led to points. Got to be able to capitalize there. Again, that comes back to the offense. Zaven, though, like the jump that he took from last year already in the first game, like, dude, Corey, you've always said it. I remember you saying,
never lost hope.
Like, he's what is he, 6'5", like 250, like the guy's an absolute truck. It was only a matter of time before he was able to like a match, like catch fire. Kind of turned into what you hoped Isaiah Simmons was going to be, at least so far. Incredible sack play that he had while being held, that ultimately really led to our demise. Obviously, they get the 15 yards, go down, score a touchdown to end the half. So that was pretty brutal. But in an alternate universe, right? Like, that sack counts. He doesn't, right? It's a holding on the offense, decline. We get the sack. I mean, either you put them in second or third and long with 30 or so seconds to go in the half. Like, at best, they're looking at a field goal there. So then you go into half 17-6 instead of 17-10. Play devil's advocate, give them the touchdown, 17-13. Now we still have the lead, and maybe we're able to avoid strip sack, right? Like, right away, to give them that eventual lead. So I was pleasantly surprised at the defense, and I feel like a lot of times we were getting home and Allen was just shaking a guy off and making us pay. So Matt Stafford's not going to be able to do that, and they're missing Noteboom, who's their starting left tackle, I want to say, or is he the guard?
I think he's the left tackle. He's the left. Yeah.
Right. They're missing so many people. They're missing him.
They're missing
him, and then Avila, the guard.
And I think they starting left tackle too. Havenstein.
Oh yeah.
And then the other dude that's suspended. So that line is atrocious. They're without Puka. The two, like, the game plan all week should be Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams, right? Like, key in on those two guys and make some of these other guys beat you. They have, what is it? Demarcus Robinson, is it?
D-Rob, Jordan Whittington, and Tyler Johnson are probably the other options. And
Tyler Johnson, is he number 18? I want to say.
I think that's what the number he wore. Yeah, I think that's the number he was wearing.
He honestly had a decent game against the Lions.
Yeah, he did.
So they honestly, like, they definitely do have some playmakers there. But if the defense can just, like, they were getting home against Allen, if they can do that against Stafford and bring him down a couple times, and just we know that they're going to put up points. Like, if the Cardinals can go out and put up 28, 30 points on offense this week, I think we do get the dub. But I hope they come out, like, starving. You know what I mean? Like, the home opener, you just took a heartbreaking loss, like, in a game that you really could have won. This is kind of the best time to play the Rams right now, just to set the tone. Absolutely. You're probably going to lose the week after against Detroit. So if you can get to 1-2 and then 2-2 against Washington, like, I really like where we're at. But in my opinion, I know it's only week 2, but this almost feels like a must win to me as far as, like, culture setting, tone setting, and just getting the squad right. I don't know what you guys think there.
Shaw, you
Go
can
ahead.
you can answer that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Starting off 0-3 is not a good recipe to make the playoffs. And, you know, I don't think any of us are looking at this season as a rebuild season. Like, expectations are we should be competing for a chance to be in the playoffs.
But
So I agree. Like, this next game is as close to a must win as you can get early in the season. You're at home. The Rams are dealing with all these injuries. Like, it's a division game. We didn't win a single division game last year. We need to win this game. We need to win this game for me to look at JG and the staff and be like, y'all are leading us in the right direction. Because if we
I
can't
agree.
beat the Rams when they're banged up at home with the team that we have, like, we're not going to beat them at all this year, you know?
Right.
And then, like, Seattle, the way their defense is looking, like, that's still going to be a tough game. And obviously, San Fran. So we got to start off the season at home with the win against the Rams. Like, absolutely have to do that. As far as going back to, I guess, the defense from against the Bills, I'm surprised we didn't see any of DTD Rabbit. I'm surprised he wasn't out there on the
don't
field
get me
that
started
much.
on
Like,
that. Oh, I can't wait till it's my turn. Don't get me started on that. That shit is ridiculous.
They rolled out Xavier Thomas a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, like, the edge room is probably in worse condition than, like, the safeties and DBs, but I would love to see them give him a shot, like, out there getting some PT, because he looked like he was I guess he looked like our best defender throughout the preseason.
Yeah.
Like, definitely that best DB throughout preseason. And I was happy with what the defense did in the first half. Obviously, because we were able to keep the ball, run clock, and that's going to make a world of a difference when it comes to our defense, with just because we don't have the talent that everybody else has in the NFL, especially up front in the front seven. Surprisingly, our linebacker, I'd say surprisingly, but our linebackers look really good. But outside of that, it's just like, I don't know what we're going to be able to do if we're in shootouts all the time. Like I don't want to go through this season where it's like our offense is putting up points, but we lose every game because of our defense. Like, that just can't. I can't take that. So they're gonna have to figure out something with that. And yeah, we did play against Josh Allen. Josh Allen went beast mode against us. Like, we was getting hands on him, but he was breaking tackles. He was literally hurling dudes into the end zone.
Right.
like he went stupid against us. And I don't expect Matthew Stafford to be breaking tackles and stuff, but he is a different type of quarterback in that, like, we still need to be very disciplined in how we rush him. And maybe more so Nick Rallis needs to be more disciplined, because I felt like he called some blitzes at some times against the Bills where it was just like,
He didn't have to
I
blitz.
didn't think we needed to blitz. Yeah, we didn't have to blitz. And you do that against Stafford, you're gonna get burnt too. Even if he's not breaking tackles, he's gonna find Cooper Kupp. He's gonna find somebody. He's gonna burn you that way.
Exactly.
So we gotta still be disciplined in that sense. But overall, when it comes to the defense, I just feel like the better we play on offense, the more we take care of the ball, run the clock, and kind of force teams to be one dimensional, the better our defense will be.
I agree with them almost every point. Like, my biggest thing was, like, again, you hear people bitching, complain about the defensive line and how they don't have any pass rushers and shit like that. Again, I saw Josh Allen running for his life. I don't know about y'all. I mean, I maybe saw one or two possessions where he had a clean pocket to throw. I saw defensive tackles breaking double teams, and I saw an athletic quarterback running away from big guys. Xavier Collins, did he win one-on-one on the edge all the time? No. Did Xavier Thomas win one-on-one on the edge? No. And that's maybe where you need that, and maybe that can affect the game. But who's to say that if somebody does win one-on-one on the edge, he doesn't just evade them and run outside? Like, a player like that, you need to play him how Kyler Murray is played, in terms of corralling, staying in rush lanes, and keeping integrity in terms of your rush. Like, that to me was the bigger problem. I'm glad at the pressure that they generated, but you generate pressure to allow him to escape and find somebody else. Like, they didn't let Kyler. I mean, they let Kyler do it a few times, but it wasn't a lot of times where they rushed him to the point where they're trying to sack him and he just evades them and then does something else. They rushed him to the point where they stand in his face. If he wants to throw it, I'm going to bat it down. And if he wants to stay in the pocket, well, we're just going to play that cat and mouse game. And So like defensive line, this interior defensive line, like I'm upset in terms of how Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones played. You signed these guys and they didn't play great. Obviously, they didn't make a huge impact, but at the same time, like Darius Robinson, again, we haven't seen him play an offensive snap, but just based off of how he looks, you expect him to be a factor at some point on that defensive line in some fashion or some way. Whether that be he's
Yeah.
a weak side guy getting one-on-one blocks, weak side guy defending the run. I mean, I'm pretty sure if him and Zayvon Collins line up on one side of the field, you won't be able to run on that side. Zayvon Collins was a monster in the run defense yesterday on Sunday, and I'm pretty sure Darius Robinson will be a gap eater, allowing Jake, your guy, Mac Wilson, and Kaiser White to come down and scrape and make it easier to make tackles down there. So like defensive line wise, like while you do want edge rushers to produce and stuff like that, I thought they played a good game. I just thought they just ran like their rush integrity wasn't as good as it should have been, and maintaining rush lanes and staying disciplined in terms of tackling them. I mean, like Papo, if Papo makes that play instead of trying to jump up and run at him and be a super freak athlete, if you break down, make him do something else and tackle him, he's not even looking to pass the ball. He's looking to evade you first to then throw the ball. Like just keeping discipline and making sure you're smart. And obviously, if you have a chance to hit Stafford like that, it'll be a little bit easier. He's not going to evade you as much, but he also at the same time he may zip it past your head on real quickly. So defensive line wise and front seven, I wasn't as upset. Like they get gashed in the run game a few times, but not like supremely like a supreme problem in my opinion. I think they could.
Yeah.
Mac Wilson, you saw him shoot down in the gap, take James Cook down in the backfield a couple times. Like, so I have faith in them to be able to shoot gaps defensively and maintain a run, so you're not getting gashed by it. What I mentioned to y'all in the podcast I think last week when I was just commenting, I said I thought this DB group could be a top 10 unit, right? I thought this DB group could be a top 10 unit in the NFL and have success. I was super disappointed with Garrett Williams and Jalen Thompson on Sunday. I thought they did absolutely nothing. I mean, they're letting dudes run past them wide open. They're losing zone integrity. Matt Collins shouldn't be beating Jalen Thompson one-on-one. I don't care like if Jalen Thompson's a safety, he shouldn't be beating him one-on-one. Like that's there. And Josh Allen can zip it in there all you want to. He should not be beating you on your inside one-on-one. I thought Jalen Thompson and Garrett Williams, I think they both looked a step slow. So when Sean mentioned DTD while he didn't play, that was my biggest like, you need a turnover, you need to stop, you need somebody to come down and hit somebody, you need one-on-one coverage, which I think he might be one of our best man-to-man covers in the slot. He needs to get reps. You talk about rotational on the D line, be rotational on the back end too. You didn't draft this guy to not play him. And again, he could be Buddha's replacement. Buddha's not going to come off the field based off of seniority. And I wouldn't think Jalen Thompson would come off the field off of seniority. But if he's not playing well, put somebody else out there and let them try to make a play. Like that's to me was like, I thought Starlin Thomas did okay. I thought Max Melton did okay. I thought Sean Murphy Button did okay. It wasn't like a super crazy game. What I was surprised about and I hope I see going forward is that you're one of top 10 teams in playing man-to-man coverage. Why? Because we know that takes away quick stuff. Like we got killed by the quick game all year last year because we're sitting back in quarters because we're so afraid of what we have out there in corners. Well, to me, that shows me that, okay, well, your investment in corner and who you have out there now, you feel that they can go one-on-one. And obviously, Starlin Thomas got beat by Keon Coleman down the edge. Like Keon Coleman is a 6'5" receiver. Starlin Thomas is about 5'11". So
great catch.
and it was a great throw as well. So like, I'm not upset about that. That's a great pitch and catch from quarterback and receiver. Like Starlin Thomas at least was in the pocket. And a lot of times you saw him and Murph and Button and Max Melton when he did get out there. They were active and in the pocket. Max Melton, you need to wrap up and tackle. Stop trying to hit people with your shoulder. This is not college. You wrap up and tackle.
That's why he in concussion protocol.
Exactly. So you see that, and it's like, but like I said, the safety play, the nickel play from Garrett Williams, it needs to be a ton better. You're going to see Cooper Kupp in that slot all game long, Garrett. And if you want to make a name for yourself, if you're this breakout player that a lot of people are predicting to be, I need to see you have success. I need to see you continue to be the guy that you were last year when you came back. You're taking the ball away. You're being one of the stickier coverage guys in the slot because there's a guy on the bench that I think can play man-to-man better than all three of those safeties that play more, including Garrett Williams. So like that to me was the more disappointing factor. Again, they have 16 more games to correct it. I still stand on my prediction. I think this can be a top 10 unit in terms of secondary, but it's going to have to get better in terms of if you like, I would say this. It has to get better in terms of Nick Ross. If you're seeing guys struggling, use your resources. Like Monty Ossenford used these resources of drafting. He didn't trade these picks to get a player to fulfill the fan base's need of needing an edge rusher so badly. He used these picks. So use your players. You use Xavier Thomas out of necessity. Shit, to me, I felt like DTD was a necessity on Sunday, like because we needed to stop at certain points, and we allowed guys to break free, get open. We didn't spy well enough. We didn't do anything with that well enough, and we got killed by 1,000 deaths when it came to third down. So it's like, or killed by 1,000 cuts when it came to third down. So like, I need to see a better performance from that secondary on Sunday. And again, it only gets tougher. I mean, Cup, no matter however you look at it, Cup, McVay, and Stafford can have janitors out there as their wide receivers and still have success. And again, if I see Cooper Kupp have success and none of those other receivers are good enough to like really threaten you, that's going to be frustrating. Because again, like I'm with you on that. You need to neutralize Cooper Kupp. You need to take him away as a target, and you need to make those other guys beat you. That's fine. I mean, Matthew Stafford, it's a little bit worrisome because Matthew Stafford has done that his whole career with a bunch of janitors and bums in Detroit outside of Calvin Johnson. So you look at it and you say, damn, maybe he could have success there. But I don't care. Cooper Kupp's going to be the main focus. Take him away. Kyron Williams going to be the main focus in the run game. Take him away. It just has to be done.
I think we got to put like all of our eggs into shutting down Stafford in the pass game because with that beat up O line, like I don't think
they're not going to be able to run the ball consistently all game. Like I agree with you.
They're not going to be moving us around to create huge lanes in the run game. So I hope that they're preparing to really just sell out in the secondary and you got to force takeaways. Like we were probably like one of the teams with the least amount of interceptions last year, and honestly for the last like. I feel like we were never like a big INT team. So
yes, especially since the no-fly zone.
Right, exactly. I feel like you gotta change that, and like you had a great opportunity to pick Allen, who's a pretty frequent INT thrower, and Stafford can always be liable to get picked. So I feel like that's one of my must-haves this week. Is got to be someone's got to come up and ball hawk. So. Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
And Stafford's going to take some shots down the field.
No, for sure.
Like he's going to take shots down the field.
Take a shot to D-Rob or what's his face Whittington. Like go for that double cup and let him throw to those guys. Like I said, I'm not worried about Kyron Williams beating you. He'll probably get a touch on some sort of goal line opportunity, but as far as like busting for big runs, I don't see it happening. Yeah. I think the D line shuts him down, and with Kaiser and Mac Wilson able to just shoot those gaps, I feel pretty confident about that. But bold prediction, I think we recover a fumble and also pick Stafford. That's my bold prediction.
I would love it.
And I also on the offensive side, I got Kyler throwing for 250 plus, and Greg Dortch goes for 80 plus.
Okay, there we go.
I would just love a convincing win.
Just give me. I don't give a fuck how you get it. You can win 3-0. I need a win bad. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like for morale wise, I just need a win. It can be 3-0. It can be 45-40. I need to see you in the win column versus that team. I'm tired of losing to them. I mean, I'm tired of their fans thinking this is a bye week. Like that's insane. That's insane to me. For you to see the team that you have going out there and then you think this is a bye week, I need them to step on that this week. I need them to step on that this week.
The bye week.
I mean, you just troll Rams fans, just name all over the place. But like,
classic.
They for the last. If you watch them, if you've been a Rams fan for 10 years, the Cardinals have never been a threat to you. So we need to have success against this team. And obviously, the biggest piece is not there anymore. But you still have pretty good players on that defensive side of the ball, and apparently they have another good defensive coordinator in the waiting wing. So they slowed down the lines a little bit on Sunday, so that's a little bit worrisome because we know that's how the style of offense that the Lions have. But I also saw the Lions literally run the ball when they wanted to win a game, and they won the game. So if you're in position to do so, run James Conner, win the game. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We might see Connor and Benson extremely active.
I don't know why they went away from Benson. Like I think he only had like one drive.
Yeah, he had that one drive and then they went away.
He looked good. Like he looked explosive compared to how he looked in the preseason.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I was thinking to myself, I feel like we came out of that game versus in comparison to a lot of teams, including our opponent in Buffalo. We came out of that game with a lot more questions than answers leading out. While I feel like Buffalo might be a slight question on the defense. Like, is this defense really that good outside of the front four? Are those safeties and corners going to have success again versus us, where it was like, okay, well, let Marvin get some touches, continue the
Yeah.
same offensive game plan defensively. We knew, I said this multiple times. Jake, you put in the chat when you backed me up. I need my defense to give me 2, 3, maybe 4 stops a game. That should be enough for this offense to win you a football game. And so, and I think you can't tally the number. We've made them punt twice, made them fumble, and I think something else. So it was 3 or 4 stops that they got.
Yeah,
That's what you need. That's the recipe.
We gotta capitalize when we get the opportunity to, because I'm tired of watching this team have the ball in their hands with a chance to win the game and they don't do anything. Like, we had the ball in our hands and went 3 and out when it was like, what, 4 minutes left in the game to drive down the field and tie, or no, and win the game or take the lead. But they went 3 and out. I'm tired of seeing that shit, man. Just tired.
Dana mentioned, she says, how involved will Blake Corum be this week with Puka out? They may need to work on the ground more than they need Kyron Williams pass pro. So we'll see. I mean, Blake Corum, I don't think he logged a single snap on Sunday. Ronnie Rivers had more snaps than him. So we'll see how involved they are with the run game. But it's going to come down to that front. Can that front slow down the run just enough to keep McVay away from that option? As we saw that first, was it that first Rams game? Was it that first Rams game or that second Rams game?
2021?
I think it was the first one. No, I'm talking about last year, where that first game where the game was close in the first half, and then Sean McVay was like, you know what? I have Kyron Williams. Let me just run the ball the entire time. And they literally ran it down our throats, and they beat us in that fashion.
I think it was the last game.
Okay, so that was the last game. So, yeah, I think it was both of them, matter of fact, because the second game was the one he came back from IR from. I remember that because I had him at
I just know Kyron cooked us twice.
Yeah. So, so you choose how you want to die. Do you want to die from getting run over like that, or do you want to try and use this secondary that I think you invested a lot of resources in, just try to slow down this pass game that has missing pieces, has its biggest missing piece in terms, well, not its biggest, but one of the main piece that opens it all up. They don't have a dynamic tight end anymore. Like, I think they have Kobe Parkinson. He's okay. So, but it's not a Tyler Higbee that it was. It's not a who do they have out there with? Tutu Atwell barely played. But that was weird. But they don't have Puka Nacua out there. Obviously, it's not like the back and forth dynamic that Cooper Kupp usually has with another receiver. It's not Odell Beckham out there with him. It's not Brandon Cooks out there with him. It's literally going to be Cooper Kupp and the Pips. And are you going to be able to stop the Pips enough and the Cooper Kupp enough to slow them down and have success defensively? So
if we can't beat the Rams now, I don't know when we can beat the Rams. If I'm just being honest, if we can't beat them now, I don't know when we can beat them.
No, I've kind of thought to myself too. Like I was super high on like the team. Like, all right, we're gonna win 9. We're making the playoffs. Like, I'm gonna take a back seat from that whole narrative until I see us, get a big win. And I think this week allows us to get a big win. Corey, like you said, in division against a team who's been our daddy for the last 15 years at home too. Like, you gotta go out and just find a way to win. Just win the football game. Additionally, too, like, I'd like to see, like, Kyler is one of the greatest, what do you call it? Just creative guys and just, like, finding a way. Like, you look back at that game we won against the Raiders, like, like the Houdini act. So, like, if it's a close game and, like, we're trying to find a way to pull away, like, give Kyler, like, a little bit of freedom to, like, make some shit happen. Because I think just, like, sticking to a scripted game plan, which Petzing seems hell-bent on doing, is just not gonna work long term. And I hope he evolves and adapts to that. So yeah, I'm optimistic. But I wanted to ask you guys too, what do you think about this Christian McCaffrey injury that's kind of popped up this evening?
He got a calf and an Achilles. It's the same old tale of every calf injury. The fact that I heard it flared up on Friday is scary.
On it is that it's actually Achilles tendonitis, which is no good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which I'm about to say I actually live with that, so I already know how that
damn.
is.
Mhm.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm hearing that it's like a multi-month type of injury.
Mhm.
So
That would be crazy.
there might be some stuff going on there for the 28-year-old.
I mean,
Yeah. And
it's
that's
one of
that.
those things
That's
where
right.
it's just like if it flares up, like it's something that you feel. It's just like
Instantly.
like at least I know
Yeah.
from dealing with it is like I know that like if I do too much, like some shit could be bad.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yeah.
You could possibly see, even if he's quote unquote healthy coming back, you could see them in a 60-40 timeshare, maybe even close to 50-50 timeshare. And
if he's dealing with that
yeah.
long-term injury, like
Mhm.
Shad's saying, if they're gonna give him 30 carries a game, like he's
Yeah, they're
gonna be
not doing that this year.
tough. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
Yeah.
they're not. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Maybe he's out for week 5. And again, like maybe he's out. Like let's say he's out for week 5. Jordan Love is out for week 8 game. The Puka Nacua is missing your week 2 game. You have chance. You're having your chances now. Like again,
right,
but you're having your chances. You tricked away a game in Buffalo that you could have had, that you could have been
right.
1-0. But now you're clear. The lanes are there in order to have success. It's about you taking them and getting some respect back for yourself, like and garnering yourself and making yourself a prominent NFL name. And again, I'm with Shard a little bit. Like JG, they got to kind of show me something. Like
I
I was
totally
with you
agree.
last year. I was with you last year. I stood down. I respected your process, but you gotta show me a little bit. You gotta show me you had signature wins at the end of the year, but again, you could chalk it up to Pittsburgh having a shit quarterback, and then also you can have chalk it up to you just having the absolute like revenge game of hell against Philadelphia. Like outside of, I mean, maybe you would have had a quote unquote signature win outside of Matt Prater missing those kicks, but like I need
No,
to see one when the
I
games
totally
matter early on in the season. When your quarterback is there, when nobody has fully expectations on what it could be, when you're not a 5-win team versus a 12-win team that has already clinched their spot in the playoffs and not worried about really winning the game or losing the game. Like I need to see those wins come down now. So it's like
no,
you
I
got a
totally.
lot to show to me. You got,
Yeah.
got a lot to show me.
I think too. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I would have much rather have gone down 17-3, come back and lost
You
because
lost.
we ran out of time. But it's like, all right, we shook out like not play, or like we shook off not playing in the preseason. We all got on the same page, and now we're bringing this momentum into the next week. But what I saw last week, like I think the reason why, like deep down, I was so upset and still am, is because that is just shades of last season. Not even shades. That's like what
Absolutely.
we were last season. Like
Yep.
the game against Washington, like we had the ability to win, couldn't close. The game against the Giants, we went up big. It was over. We were up like 28-0. Couldn't close.
24-0 or something like
24-0.
that. Yeah.
Right? Couldn't close. So it's like, don't be
Mhm.
that team, bro. Like don't be that team. Find a way to win a football game, close the game, be able to think on your feet and adapt and allow Kyler Murray to do what Kyler Murray does. Like so yeah, honestly, the more we talk about it, the more I'm realizing that this week is huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, the opportunity there for us to win a game, and you want to go win it. I know, kind of early on, offset, we were kind of predicting that to be a L, but now, with the injuries that they're dealing with, that it was with the way that you looked offensively last week, in terms of, or just how you looked as a team in general last week, you now want to go see this team go ahead and be successful and go ahead and win this game. So, I think we all are in unison again this week that we're going to come out as victorious, and we'll be talking next Tuesday or sometime next week about a victory. I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah,
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with 27 to say 27-20 Cardinals.
27-20. Okay. Okay. I think I got it closer to like 20, 24, 20, 24, 20, 24, 21, maybe 27, 24 our way. I'll
I
go
kind of
24, 24 our way.
now that I think about it, maybe 27-23.
Yeah. 27, 24 our way. Shaw, you got anything, or you just want you just want to win?
Bro, I just want the win, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I said, rain,
Like,
sleet, snow, or shine. If that stadium collapses, whatever the case may be, as long as the Cardinals come out victorious, I am a happy man, and I can be back to myself and have a good night's week. This week was okay. It's but I just need to have a. I don't want to be overthinking the games. I feel like when we win, it's more so like, okay, let's celebrate. We talk about it. When we lose, it's like we're overthinking this shit. Like we're thinking too hard. Is Marvin really that guy? Like he's gonna. So we're gonna have to see. We gotta see, and we got to prove to ourselves that this team is a different team. It's not going to be the same process as last year. I think Roy Lopez's comments post game on Monday showed everything that you think that JG is as a head coach, but it has to be displayed on the football field and result in wins. So,
did you guys by chance see Roy Lopez's? I think it was some sort of press conference like a couple weeks ago. He was talking about like JG again.
Developing that culture, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I just wanted to ask with that, but Dude, something else I wanted to add. So obviously I told you guys like I got the job in Arizona, so I'm moving out there super soon. Literally in like 4 weeks. So I'm like, what's up?
So that boy gonna be at some games.
Yeah, bro. So
He's gonna be at every game.
I've already looked into it, and I'm planning to go to like I start work or like this new position on October 21st, which happens to be the same day as Cardinals Chargers primetime Monday night. So I'm planning to be there for that game and every single home game after. But I was gonna ask you guys if you had we can talk about this off air as well, but maybe a little bit of like a new like halftime segment, just jump on and chop it up a bit.
If you're in there, we can definitely run that up for sure. If you're
all right, sweet.
See how environment's looking and all that stuff. So
for sure.
Live in the flesh of the Red Sea. So definitely.
Cool. Yeah. No, I was thinking about that. I thought it might be a fun little thing to add in some sort of like halftime chat.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Real quick before we head out, Dana mentioned I guess about the McCaffrey stuff. Tendonitis and inflammation usually requires a few weeks of rest followed by physical therapy, and then also that toughing it out makes it worse. So not a good time for Christian McCaffrey to be dealing with this injury and it flaring up on him and stuff like that. So we'll see. Obviously, Jordan Mason looked good yesterday. I'm not really buying that. I think that definitely they've had him for a while now. I didn't think it was anything like that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Sean McVay can make me. I can go back there and get 20 yards with Sean McVay right now.
So we'll see. She also mentioned still 105 plus pretty much every day at this moment. Enjoy fall while you can where you are.
Boston. And it's getting chilly.
As I say, it's starting to. It's still a little warm in Baltimore here, but it'll definitely start getting to that point soon. And coats are coming out, hoodies are coming out. It's my type of weather though. Getting real brisk. So, hey, you fellas had anything before we head out? Nice little episode today.
Yeah, great episode. Great to have you back, Corey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always great when we got the full crew.
Yes, sir. You already know. For sure. So appreciate everybody that came through. Dana, I see you in here. Appreciate you, Classy Nasty. If you did make it in, appreciate you stopping in a little bit earlier. And anybody that views us will appreciate you. And yes, tomorrow, I don't know what day it'll be. The pod is debuting on Apple Podcasts. It will be on there. We'll be able to you'll be able to listen to it, re-listen to it. We'll be able to send it out to all of our friends, family, as well as the Red Sea. Go ahead, chop it up, listen with us. A nice little hour 45. You had some time at work. Throw it in your headphones. Listen to us chop up the game.
Throw it on the 1.5.
You feel me? So chop it up and see how it's feeling, and be all good. So appreciate everybody that tuned in, and we will catch y'all on next week after a hopeful victory in the Red Sea. Right behind me, as you see, my boy Jake gonna be here soon, but we'll all be here soon for a game. So
yes, sir.
If you're there in Arizona, you have a chance to go to the game. Don't sell your tickets to Rams fans. Have it rocking. And we'll keep that place live. So appreciate you boys, and we will see you guys next.
All right, appreciate it, fellas. Have a good one.